The atrocities that the Russian terrorist regime have committed are countless. We can enumerate just a few of them, because the time we have is limited, my friends. But the message we have is huge, for the whole world to hear it. The genocide of the Ukrainian people continues, and it's all perpetrated by a terrorist regime with Vladimir Putin at the top. And yet, despite all the crimes committed against the Ukrainian people, there are still some apologists who claim that we can negotiate with Russia, who claim that we can trust the word of the Russians, although they have betrayed the treaties that they have signed many times in the past. Treaties like the Budapest Memorandum, treaties like the Friendship Agreement between Ukraine and Russia, treaties like both of the Minsk agreements, where the Ukrainians were actually willing to give up parts of their land in order to exchange it for peace. But the Russians have betrayed that trust. The Russians have betrayed the Ukrainian desire for peace many times over and over and over again. There's only so many times that you can commit the same mistake again, my friends. Because the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again whilst expecting a different result. And that is the mistake that we must not commit with the terrorist Russian regime. For all of those apologists, for all of those Russophiles who claim that Russia simply wants to be left alone, we remind you about the many other wars that Russia has started. We remind you about the many other atrocities that Russia has committed. The Russians have used chemical weapons in Syria. The Russians have participated in the many coups d'etats in sub-Saharan Africa. The Russians have invaded Georgia in 2008 with exactly the same cheap excuses that they're using now against Ukraine. When will the world learn? That is the question we have to ask. When will humanity learn with their mistakes so that we can finally move forward and not commit those mistakes again? Why is it that people still take the word of terrorists like Vladimir Putin seriously when he claims he's fighting Nazis, when in reality he has the biggest neo-Nazi battalion fighting for him, the Wagner Group? The Wagner Group still fights for the Russian terrorist regime. The Wagner Group fights for a white supremacy ideology. And we have to say that, we have to let the world know, because some people, unfortunately, are not yet aware. But that's fine. We are willing to hear out different opinions. We are willing to engage in debate and in discussion. That is not something that the Russian terrorist regime is willing to do. They are not willing to debate any of their points, because they know they have no points to give except lies and deceit. That is the only thing that all of their ideology is based on. Revisionist history, propaganda, and the simple stupidity of those too lazy to actually do some basic research and find out that Russia has been lying all along. There has been a famous man who tried to negotiate with Putin, who tried to negotiate a peace settlement with Russia. That man has died in a plane crash near Moscow. That man's name is Yevgeny Prigozhin. And I would like everybody to always remember this name, because that is what will happen to anybody who will try to negotiate with the Russian terrorist regime. Death, betrayal, and humiliation. Simply a stupid way to go down. And we should not go down the same way. We should know that if we have been fooled in the past by the Russian terrorist regime, we must stop trusting their word. As the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, and your name is Russia. That is the lesson that we all have to learn with what has happened in the past and what is happening right now. World, wake up!
World, wake up!